Hey everyone, welcome. Ever think about a career combining like your love for animals with wanting to help people?
It's a question that really speaks to something deep,
Yeah.
you know? And it makes me think of this incredible field, animal-assisted therapy.
Yeah, it's such a cool idea using that bond between humans and animals to support people going through tough stuff.
It's more than just a nice idea, though. This field is seriously growing with real career potential, and, well, that's what we're digging into today.
I'm all for it. Okay, so specifics. Specifics. Our main guide for this deep dive is Animal Assisted Therapist, the complete career guide. What's the day-to-day actually like for someone in this role?
Okay, so imagine this. You're working with people who have disabilities. We're talking autism, cerebral palsy, brain injuries, things like that. And as an animal-assisted therapist, you're using animals as part of a structured, plan to help these folks heal and grow.
So there's real depth to it. It's not just about loving animals, it's knowing how to use that connection to help people heal.
Exactly. And it's a team effort, really. You're working alongside healthcare providers, animal handlers, and of course the client and everyone supporting them.
What a rewarding path to be on. What does the guide highlight as super important parts of the job?
It actually emphasizes the analytical side, which might surprise some people. It's not all like playing with puppies, though that
Right.
does happen. But you're assessing needs, creating those individual treatment plans, and constantly checking if they're working, making changes as needed.
Right, right. It's about targeted support. This has got to be emotionally demanding, though, right?
It can be, yeah. You're working with people facing some really tough challenges. But that's where the huge rewards come in, helping someone communicate better, get over a fear, or even just experience pure joy because of that connection with an animal.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful.
Okay, I'm already seeing how fulfilling it could be. So, what about the practical side? What's the job market actually like for aspiring animal assisted therapists?
The outlook is really promising. The career guide actually mentions a projected 12% growth rate
Hmm.
between 2019 and 2029.
Wow, that's way faster than average, isn't it?
Exactly. And it shows a bigger trend. More and more people are recognizing holistic healthcare. They're looking for alternatives, therapies that complement traditional methods, and animal-assisted therapy fits right in.
That's a really good point. So, not only is it super rewarding, but it's probably going to be in high demand for years to come.
Absolutely. Now, while a career in animal-assisted therapy is clearly appealing, it's super important to remember both sides of the coin. The incredible rewards, for sure, but also the inherent challenges that come with this line of work.
It's encouraging to know that it's a growing field, but I'm curious, what are some of the challenges you might face in this line of work?
Yeah, the career guide gets real about that. Like, practically speaking, there's always a chance of allergies, right? Or
Uh,
even animal-related injuries. It just comes with the territory of working with animals so closely.
Those are definitely things to keep in mind if you're thinking about this as a career. Anything else?
Well, the emotional toll can be a lot to handle sometimes. You're working with people who are dealing with some tough stuff, seeing that firsthand, even if you're passionate about helping, it can be draining.
Yeah, that makes sense. It takes a special kind of person to handle those emotions and still be that supportive presence.
It really does. And that brings us to another crucial point from the career guide. Education and training, and not just once. It's ongoing.
So you're constantly learning. It's not a learn it and you're good kind of field. You have to really stay committed to learning and developing as a professional.
You got it. The field is always changing with new research, new techniques all the time. So yeah, that commitment to learning, it's
Yeah.
essential.
Makes sense, especially in a field as dynamic as this one. Okay, so say someone's even more into this career after hearing about the rewards and challenges. What does becoming an animal-assisted therapist actually look like? Where do you even start?
Well, the complete career guide actually lays out a pretty clear path, starting with education. And while there are different ways to go, psychology, animal science, occupational therapy, those are some common starting points.
I'm seeing how interdisciplinary this field really is. You need to understand human behavior, animal care, and therapeutic approaches.
It's the perfect blend, honestly. You need a good grasp on all of them to create those effective interventions. The guide even mentions other areas, like social work, counseling, even veterinary medicine.
Wow, so many different skills and perspectives that animal-assisted therapists bring. Definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of profession.
You got it. And once you have that strong foundation, then you can start exploring, like, specializations. Find what really lights you up.
Could you give some examples of what those specializations might look like?
Oh, totally. Imagine helping a veteran cope with PTSD through a connection with a horse. That's equine therapy. Or Picture working with autistic kids, using therapy dogs to help them learn social skills and manage their emotions.
Those are powerful examples. So it's about finding that niche where you can use your skills and what you love to help a specific group of people.
Exactly. And the career guide even maps out what a typical career path might look like. Like, you might begin by assisting more experienced therapists, taking care of the animals, things like that. And then, as you gain experience, you take on more and more responsibility.
So there's definitely room to grow and advance in this field. What would that look like for, say, a seasoned animal-assisted therapist?
Well, you could end up creating and leading your own therapy programs, maybe conducting research. You could even shape the future of the field through things like advocacy or education. There are so many possibilities.
That's really inspiring. But let's be real, even with tons of passion and the right education, you still have to nail that job interview. And that's where our next source comes in. RoleCatcher Ace Your Interviews with tailored questions and AI-powered practice.
Oh, RoleCatcher's great. They've got this treasure trove of interview questions, over 120,000 of them, covering all kinds of careers and skills. They even have AI tools to help you practice your answers and get comfortable so you're totally ready to impress.
That's like having a secret weapon, honestly. Okay, obviously we can't go through 120,000 questions, but maybe we could focus on a couple that are super relevant to animal-assisted therapy. I'm ready for the curveballs.
All right, challenge accepted. Let's say you're sitting across from a potential employer, and they ask, think of a time when an animal played a big role in a therapy session you were part of. How would you describe that experience?
Okay, that's a good one. It really gets at the core of why someone would choose this career. What would a strong answer even sound like?
For me, a strong answer would show how you connect the dots, like how the animal's behavior, the client's needs, and the overall goals of the therapy all link up. For example, you could talk about a time when a therapy dog helped a child with anxiety relax and open up during a play therapy session.
It's not just about what happened, it's about understanding why it mattered, right?
Exactly. Okay, ready for another one.
Hit me.
How would you handle a difficult or maybe even aggressive animal during a therapy session?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You never know what to expect when working with animals, and safety is key. What would you focus on in your answer?
I think that question is all about showing that you can stay calm and collected under pressure, that you could put safety first, both for yourself and the client. So a good answer might involve talking about using positive reinforcement with the animal, redirecting their attention, or even removing them from the situation if you had to. Safety is paramount, always.
Those are some seriously helpful insights. RoleCatcher seems like it can give you a real edge in a job interview.
For sure. It helps you get inside the interviewer's head, you anticipate those questions, and really think through your responses. That way you can show off your expertise and how passionate you are about animal-assisted therapy.
Okay, so we've covered so much ground already, from the emotional side of things to practical stuff and even those tough interview questions. But there's another side to this I'd love to explore. The ethical aspects of animal-assisted therapy.
Such an important conversation. The career guide doesn't go into a ton of detail about this, but it's something that's talked about all the time in the field.
Absolutely. So let's dig into those ethical considerations next time, exploring how to make sure both the animals and the people they're helping are safe and well taken care of. Welcome back. We've been talking about animal-assisted therapy, looking at all sides, the good, the tough, and how important it is to be thoughtful about it all.
It's definitely one of those careers that pulls at your heartstrings. And as we've seen, it takes a special mix of, knowledge, compassion, and that deep respect for both the animals and the people they help.
For sure. And that makes me think about something we haven't gotten to yet, the ethical side of animal-assisted therapy.
It's so important to talk about that because when you really get down to it, this whole field is about humans and animals working together.
Right.
So, like any partnership, it has to be built on mutual respect and making sure everyone is thriving.
So what are some of the biggest ethical things to keep in mind in this line of work?
Well, first and foremost, you have to make sure the animal is okay. Always. That means making sure they're trained properly, keeping them out of situations that could stress them out or make them uncomfortable, even just recognizing when they're tired or burnt out.
It's like being their voice, making sure someone's looking out for their best interests.
Exactly. Sometimes being a good advocate means realizing an animal isn't cut out for this kind of work, or that they just need a break from therapy sessions.
Are there other ethical things therapists have to think about?
Oh yeah, for sure. Getting informed consent from the clients is huge. Basically, that means making sure they understand what animal-assisted therapy is, the good and the bad that could come with it, and that it's always their choice to say no or stop if they want to.
So it's about giving the client the power to make their own choices about their therapy.
That's it. And on the flip side, animal-assisted therapists have to maintain those professional boundaries too. That bond with the animal is super powerful, but you can't get so caught up in it that you forget the focus should always be on what the client needs.
Right, because as amazing as that bond is, it's a tool to help the client, not the main event. It's about balance.
You got it. And this is another reason why ongoing education and having someone to supervise you is crucial. Ethical dilemmas pop up, and having mentors, people to talk to, even other therapists to bounce ideas off of, that's so important.
It's like building a safety net that helps therapists navigate those tricky situations and make sure they're always doing what's best for their clients and their animal partners.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And even though we've touched on some big ethical points, it's key to remember that this field is always evolving. New tech, new ways of doing therapy, new ethical guidelines, they're always popping up.
So if you're serious about this career, you always have to stay curious, informed, and in the loop about all the new stuff coming out.
100%. As we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's really important to remember just how emotionally intense this career can be.
It's true. We talked about compassion fatigue, burnout, that emotional toll it can take. But there's a whole lot of joy in this work too, right?
Oh, tons of it. Imagine seeing that human-animal bond in action, seeing how much it can change people. A kid with autism who lights up around a therapy dog, a veteran finding peace while grooming a horse. These are incredibly rewarding things to witness.
It's tapping into that shared energy, that silent communication between people and animals, and realizing how much potential it has to heal and inspire.
I love how you put that. The career guide is great for the practical stuff, but anyone thinking about this career needs to really sit with those feelings, figure out what lights them up about animals and about helping others.
It's a good point, because even though it's a career with skills to learn and steps to take, it's also something deeper, like
Yeah.
this drive to make a difference by being part of that incredible human-animal bond.
Beautifully said. So, as we wrap up our look at animal-assisted therapy, I think it's clear that it's so much more than just a job. It's science, it's compassion, and it's this deep belief in the healing power of connection, all rolled into one.
And on that note, that wraps up this episode of The Deep Dive. If anything we talked about today resonated with you, if you're feeling that spark, don't ignore it.
Dive in, learn more about this field, maybe volunteer at a shelter, even reach out to a certified animal-assisted therapist and pick their brain. You never know where that first step might take you.
And that's a wrap on another Deep Dive. See you next time when we'll be back exploring more fascinating topics and looking at the world in new ways. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.